Understanding the basics. What are indifference curves? Imagine you are at a local market. You have a certain amount of money to spend. You see many things you like, perhaps fresh fruit and tasty pastries. An indifference curve is a simple tool economists use. It helps us think about how people choose. It shows different combinations of two goods. For example, it could be apples and bananas. The special thing about these combinations is that they all give you the same level of happiness. You feel just as good with one mix as you do with another mix on the same curve. You are indifferent between them. This concept of being indifferent is key. It doesn't mean you don't care about the goods. It means that for any specific curve, each point on it represents a bundle of goods that provides you with an identical amount of satisfaction or utility. So, if one point offers you 3 apples and 2 bananas, and another point on the same curve offers 2 apples and 3 bananas, you would be equally content with either option. This helps us understand that people are willing to make trade-offs. They might give up a little of one good to get a little more of another, as long as their overall happiness stays the same. These curves are usually drawn as bowing inwards towards the origin of a graph. This shape is important. It reflects something called the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That sounds complicated, but it's quite simple. It means that as you have more and more of one good, say apples, you become less willing to give up the other good, say bananas, just to get one more apple. If you have many apples and few bananas, you'd give up a lot of apples for one banana. But if you have few apples and many bananas, you'd only give up a few bananas for an extra apple. So, an indifference curve is a picture of your preferences. It maps out all the different bundles of 2 items that would leave you feeling equally pleased. You wouldn't feel better off or worse off by choosing any particular point along that single curve. Higher curves further away from the origin represent higher levels of satisfaction because they generally mean you get more of both goods. Lower curves mean less satisfaction. Economists use these visual tools to explore how consumers try to get the most happiness they can with what they have. Making choices, how we pick between 2 good things. Now, how do we actually use these indifference curves to make decisions? We all want to be as happy as possible. In economic terms, we want to reach the highest possible indifference curve. This means getting the combination of goods that gives us the most satisfaction. However, we can't just have everything we want. We all face a constraint, our budget. We only have a certain amount of money to spend. This is where reality kicks in and shapes our choices in the marketplace. Our income limits the bundles of goods we can actually afford. This budget constraint can also be shown on the same graph as the indifference curves. It's usually a straight line. This line shows all the combinations of the 2 goods that you can buy if you spend all your money. For instance, if apples cost $1 and bananas cost 50 cents, and you have $10, you could buy 10 apples and no bananas, or 20 bananas and no apples, or some combination in between, like 5 apples and 10 bananas. The budget line clearly defines what is achievable and what is not, given your financial resources and the prices of the goods. The smart consumer trying to maximize their happiness will choose a point where their budget line just touches the highest possible indifference curve. This point of tangency is the sweet spot. It's the combination of goods that gives them the most satisfaction they can afford. At this point, the rate at which they are willing to trade one good for another, the slope of the indifference curve, is exactly equal to the rate at which the market allows them to trade one good for another, the slope of the budget line, which is based on prices. So, consumers don't just randomly pick things. They are often unconsciously trying to solve this optimization problem. They are weighing their preferences, shown by indifference curves, against their limitations, shown by the budget line. If your income increases, your budget line shifts outwards, allowing you to reach a higher indifference curve, and thus a higher level of satisfaction. If the price of one good changes, the slope of the budget line changes, leading to a new, optimal choice. This framework helps explain a lot about consumer behavior. A real-life example balancing pizza and soda pop. Let's make this more concrete. Imagine you're deciding between slices of pizza and cans of soda pop for your lunch. You like both. An indifference curve could show different combinations that make you equally happy. For instance, you might be just as happy with 4 slices of pizza and 1 can of soda as you are with 2 slices of pizza and 3 cans of soda. Both these combinations lie on the same indifference curve. You are trading off some pizza for more soda or vice versa, without feeling any better or worse off overall. Now let's say you have $10 to spend. pizza costs $2 per slice, and soda costs $1 per can. Your budget line would show all the combinations you can afford. You could buy 5 slices of pizza and no soda, $2 times 5 equals $10. Or you could buy 10 cans of soda and no pizza, $1 times 10 equals $10. Or you could buy 3 slices of pizza, $6, and 4 cans of soda, $4, which also totals $10. These are all points on your budget line. You are trying to find the point on this budget line that also touches your highest possible indifference curve. Perhaps your personal preferences, shown by your indifference map, a collection of many indifference curves, indicate that you are happiest with 3 slices of pizza and 4 cans of soda. This specific combination gives you more satisfaction than any other affordable option. If you chose 5 slices of pizza and no soda, you might be on a lower indifference curve because you really miss having a drink. Similarly, 10 cans of soda and no pizza might leave you feeling hungry and less satisfied than the balanced option on a higher curve. What happens if the price of pizza falls to $1 per slice? Your budget line would pivot outwards. Now, with your $10, you could potentially buy more pizza, or more of both. For example, you could now afford 5 slices of pizza and 5 cans of soda. This change in price allows you to reach a new, higher indifference curve. You would likely adjust your consumption, perhaps buying more pizza than before and maybe even more soda because you feel richer. This illustrates how price changes affect consumer choices by interacting with their underlying preferences. The big picture: why indifference curves matter in economics. Indifference curves might seem like a theoretical concept, but they are incredibly important in economics. They form the foundation of modern microeconomic theory, especially when we study consumer behavior and demand. By understanding how individuals make choices between different goods and services to maximize their satisfaction given their budget, economists can build models that predict how demand for products will change. This is vital for businesses trying to set prices or decide what products to offer to the market. Furthermore, these curves help us understand the impact of various economic policies. For example, if the government imposes a tax on a specific good, say sugary drinks, this effectively increases its price. Using indifference curve analysis, economists can predict how consumers might change their buying habits. They might buy fewer sugary drinks and substitute them with other, now relatively cheaper alternatives. This allows policymakers to estimate the revenue from the tax and also the potential impact on consumer welfare, how much less satisfied consumers might be. Indifference curves also help explain the benefits of trade. When individuals or countries trade, they can often reach higher levels of satisfaction than they could on their own. This is because trade allows them to consume combinations of goods that would be outside their individual production possibilities or budget constraints. They can specialize in what they do best and trade for other goods, effectively reaching a higher indifference curve for everyone involved. This highlights the gains from specialization and exchange in an economy. In essence, indifference curves provide a powerful yet intuitive way to think about preferences, trade-offs, and choices. They allow economists to analyze consumer decisions with more rigor than simply saying people buy what they like. They help us understand the law of demand, why people buy less when prices go up, the concept of consumer surplus, the extra satisfaction consumers get, and even aspects of labor supply, choosing between work and leisure. Understanding them is key to grasping many fundamental economic principles that shape our world.